Hey everyone, welcome back to my part two. So now I'm going to be working on my chickpea chana, my chickpea masala, and I'm adding a little bit of oil. My stove is at medium high heat right now. So I'm adding a whole Spanish onion. Of course, you can use whatever onion that you like. And I'm just going to let them sweat for a little while before I add my garlic. So I'm also going to be adding 3 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of ginger, and half a Scotch bonnet pepper that I took all of the seeds and the membrane out of. So all flavor, but hopefully not too much of the spice. I'm kidding. You won't get any spice if you take out the membrane and the seeds. That's where all the spice is and the pepper. So now that I've have these sweating off a little bit, I'm going to add a tomato, a whole tomato. And I'm going to allow that to cook and start to create some liquid on its own. So I've had this pot of hot oil heating beside my my chickpeas. So I'm just going to now start to cook my festivals. So you want to keep your oil between 250 and 260. Anything higher than that, you risk your dumplings or your festivals cooking more on the outside and not being so cooked on the inside. However, if that happens, not the end of the world. You can always preheat your oven. If you're not super confident, preheat your oven to 300 degrees, and if the inside is not totally cooked, you can always finish them off in the oven and it won't make too much of a difference with the final result. Now I'm just making shapes by folding it into itself until the sides are smooth. Makes whatever shapes that you like. Some people, make something called spinas. Some people, make a little bow with them. Whatever you want, they'll come out the same either way. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that a lot of my tutorials contain a lot of similar ingredients, and there's a reason for that. It's to show everything that you could do in one shopping trip and the versatility that you can have with a few simple and cheap ingredients. So I hope there's somebody out there who really appreciates this. But for sure, I'm so open to like suggestions about things that people might want me to do. I've gotten one already for Chinese broccoli or things that you're a little bit nervous to cook but always wanted to try. So please leave a comment if there's anything that you want to know how to cook and maybe I can help. So I've just added a whole can of drained, washed, and dried chickpeas to my pot. And I'm just going to stir those in and season. So my seasonings are going to be salt, pepper, a little bit of curry powder. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon of curry powder, and I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of all-purpose seasoning. Now, if you wanted to make this a little bit heavier in spice, I would suggest adding a teaspoon of cumin as well. However, cumin is not a popular flavor in this house, so I had to exclude it. But a teaspoon of cumin to this would really set it off, to be honest. So there's my curry, and I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of my all-purpose seasoning. So after I season, I'm going to give it a stir, and I'm going to add some water. Now I only want to add water to cover it about halfway. As I always say, you can always add more, but it's hard to take out. So start off with adding water so that your chickpeas are filled to about half. The water is filling the chickpeas to about halfway, as you can see here. So I'm going to cover it and I'm going to let that cook on its own for about 5 to 7 minutes. Now I see that the sides are really browning on my dumplings, on my festival, so I'm going to give it a turn. You're looking for that golden brown color. And now I've been letting this cook for about 7 or 8 minutes, and I can see that it's thickening up. I do add a little bit more water and allow it to cook for another 10 minutes. Now, just towards the end, my last 3 minutes of cooking, I'm going to add a handful of cilantro and a young onion that I chopped up for some fresh green flavor. At this point, if you wanted to add some acid, like some lime juice, it would really brighten up the dish as well. And when you're all done, that's what you're left with. Totally vegan and totally delicious. Thanks